Hey guys, it's a bright sunny day here in Middle Tennessee. It shows the temperature on my local weather to be 34, but I uncovered all the glass in the greenhouse here last night. So it showed to be like in the 50s in the RV this morning. Show you what I've got planned for today. It's no big deal, but it might be kind of fun. All right, I've dragged out the BougeRV heater and built me a little. This is temporary. I probably won't have this on there forever, just in case anybody's wondering. 27.02 pounds is what this thing runs, or weighs, without any of the attachments on it. I just kind of on a fluke, I decided I'd try it on my Mettler postal scale in there, because I can fill it up with diesel and then take a reading and then kind of tell what it's pulled by weight by sticking it on there. The scale just goes up to 30 pounds, so I was pretty pleased to see that it weighed under 30 pounds, and it will with full of diesel too. So I got one of these little through holes for other projects. I'll see if I can find the link. If I can, I'll post it down in the comments, but everybody and their dog makes them. I think I got this one for $14.97 or something like that. It was like a buck off coupon. They're around $16 through Jeff's place. How I've ported this thing in just to play with it is to through the old refrigerator vent. I've still got my vent components over there that I'm gonna clean up and put in here, and probably put a little plate of sheet metal on this front or back where it'll cover that off. But it'll look better with the little grill showing on the front like they all have. It's even in pretty decent shape. Should shed the water out of it all it needs to with this little deal here, and I'll get it all sealed up good and put butyl all around there and be good to go. So I couldn't get this thing set in there right because it's a little bit thinner. If you're setting one of these things, make sure you check, because I think this stuff's about the thickness of 1/2 inch plywood, and I don't believe that son will thread on there, so you may have to do some more rigging on that. So we're gonna go out there and fire it up. We've got the lights on in the RV. Let's see if it'll do. So I kicked the plug plugged it in yesterday and came out, and it was making a racket. No, it's not gonna do it. But the dang furnace would kicked in. There we go. It was cold enough that it kicked in at 45. There is probably a dirt dauber or two flopping around in there. Weird thing's got two vents right here, which is kind of cool, I guess. Keeps the front of it warm a little better. Then it goes back here with these big old long ducts, and one of the vents goes there and one of them goes there, and then I guess it tees off of one of them, because I've just got the two coming back here. And this dang floor here is like a false floor. It's like a step up, so there's space underneath it, and then there's a vent comes back here to the potty, which I can feel air coming through there. If I can keep that part of a diesel heater conversion, that would be kind of cool, because it distributes the heat around pretty good in here. All right, let's go outside and See if we can get that diesel heater to fire up. That was noisier than that yesterday. Maybe it knocked some of the dirt daubers loose. Possibly a little bit of interference in there. Okay, I've got it plugged into the outside here, into the transformer, into the XT60. Hey, I got the right one the first time that time. We're gonna fire it up. You know how that goes, that takes a while. I bought this little thermometer here. I think it's kind of cool. I put it in the shade over there to try to get a better reading. It's showing 40 out here. We'll set it inside here, not directly in the blast of the fiery furnace, but where it'll bust off and read something here directly. Got all the vents closed on the, or all the windows closed on the RV. Only thing got up's this, but I don't think it's gonna be, I don't know if it's leaking through there or not, to be honest with you, but we'll know soon enough. I know that this thing is going to need vented in and out. We need to vent into this part where the intake is, and it needs to come to your condition space somewhere. In fact, if I can get it to get figured out how to do it, if I could put this a little farther away from that, it would act like a return air and kind of tend to keep the stuff circulated in there a little better. Anyhow, this is taking a while. I don't know if it's cold or what. Don't get any error messages. It is kind of chilly out here. There we go. It must have taken a while to get picked up on the glow plug. Alrighty, we'll check back with me in a minute. I've just got this thing kind of stuck together. I got something I want to say about this. I'll probably, while I'm here, I might as well talk. We got a little bit of smoke coming out of there. Now this is one of the BougeRVs have the threaded exhaust, and that's uncommon. I've heard of 2 more that have it. I sent away to Bouge to see about getting a spare exhaust pipe, because if you go to install this sucker somewhere, you're gonna have to straighten it out to, when you get it out of there, to unscrew it. You can't unscrew it with all these good drops in it hardly, especially if it's in a confined space. They said they could do it. They'd check a price on it. It might need to pay shipping on it, etc., etc. Came back and told me $35 for that piece of pipe. You can get similar pieces of that on Amazon for like 10 bucks shipped, but they don't have the threaded end. This is going to take a little more thinking on it. I like the idea of it being threaded for the connectivity. You don't have to slide this little piece on it. But then again, you can't slide it on there. They make these little elbows because the exhaust of this thing comes, this is the heater itself, this part, and then the exhaust comes down here and the intake is over here. And it's got a little air filtery looking thing, but it's not an air filter right here that the combustion air comes off of. I may be able to, I'm gonna feel around in that once it gets cool and check it with a flashlight. I may be able to cut this pipe off of here, or cut this weld here. If that pipe fitting goes to here, then I can put pretty much anything I want on there. I bet it does slip up in there. We'll see after a while. Hard to tell. All right, we're getting some heat. I've still got it set at 5,000. Go in there right quick and see if it's getting any warm coming through that tube. Might be a little early. Also check around. Now it's got a little warm to it. All right, I'm gonna leave this here for about an hour and we'll come back and see. This is saying 44, 45 degrees, but it's been outside a while. I've got the little transmitter there that goes to the unit in the garage. Let's go look at it and see what it's showing. Give us a baseline for it. Okay, it's showing 57. I think it's showing 56 a while ago. Might have gathered some solar in the meantime, because it is bright out there. So I turned the heater on at 210, and I thought it was 57 degrees in the RV with the little remote sensor, but I was mistaken. I misread the indoor, which is 57. It was 50 in the RV. Now it's 75, and it's been on for about 20 minutes. It's showing 75 on that little sensor anyway. They're a little sluggish. Let's go check it out. Still ginning away, hasn't melted anything, which is a good sign. Okay. My little highly calibrated Lithuanian temperature sensing thermometer thing is showing 84 and 20% humidity. That sucker's putting out a lot of heat. Plus I'm getting a little bit of solar out of that, but that was original, or probably responsible more for the baseline that we started with. Yeah, I think this thing's gonna do crazy. Got to figure out a good place to put it. So it's 176 degrees coming out of the snout there. I'm gonna go turn it down to its low setting and see if it maintains that temperature for a while. I was gonna let it run for an hour, but crap. It might be 105 degrees in there if I do that. Okay, we're down at 1400 watt, 1400 watts. Should be able to hear it zip down, slow down pretty quick. Of course, you guys already heard all that, so that's not a big deal. It's not worth hanging around for. We'll come back and look at it in a bit. So like I said, right at 84, and it is 2:36 reference time. All right, when we left this little dude, we were about 84, and now we're at about 74. It feels good in here. Still got plenty of airflow coming through there. It's been running on low for an hour. So it ought to maintain 74 on low at this temperature. Outside, My watch is usually correct. It shows it's 35. It feels pretty chilly, but it's real sunny, so it doesn't seem like it's so bad. Let's see if there's any good readings on here. Showing like 98% efficient, I think. That's so dang little, I can't hardly read it. Got it set down at 1400, it's pulling 13 volts. I'm gonna shut her off. So when I hit the off, the ignition element light came back on. I don't know if it heats a glow plug up to try to keep it from gumming up when it's shutting down or what. That's kind of interesting little deal. Might go in there and measure it when it cools off. I mean, weigh it when it cools off and see, for the time I've been piddling around with it, how much, just for curiosity, how much it's used in diesel. All in all, I think that's a pretty good trial. Now I know, like I said, when I get the vent hose, I've got some vent hose coming later on this week. I think I got 16 feet of it, like a 16-foot chunk. I should be able to click it on here, turn this thing sideways, and run 2 hoses in. That would pull warmer air from the inside, heat it, and blow it out there. As it is, when you're pressurizing this thing, it's blowing warm air out of the trillion and or so cracks that's in it around the windows, and first one placing another. So it's kind of running a little positive pressure in there. If I'm kind of keeping it neutral, kind of makes sense it would be warmer air going back in it after it got heated up more from being pulled out of there. So anyway, we'll see if that makes any difference at some point in time. Well guys, thanks for dropping by again and checking up on me. I'm kind of liking this little BougeRV thing. They've been making these Chinese diesels for eons, but I just kind of like the way the interface is simple. Some of them have temperature controls, fan controls, all this stuff. I think this thing's just kind of stone simple, and it looks tough even though it might not end up being that tough. Once I get the exhaust thing figured out, I think I'll be a lot happier with it. Also going to do a little deal where I make a spacer to get it off the ground, because if I'm using it for the tent or someplace that is sitting on the ground, supposedly one of the other guys said you need to be like 6 inches off of the ground for any exhaust, anything that runs hot like that. I got an idea with a little, just to do some little PVC pipe legs, something that'll maybe not even glue it all the way up where it'll fold flat. Yeah, but anyway, like I said, appreciate you dropping by. Hope you got something out of it. Kind of enjoy making these things, and come by and check on me from time to time. Appreciate it. Take her easy.